There's only one way to start this episode today.
1, 2, 3.
Here we go, Brandon. Here we go. Woo! Oh my God. The Dodgers just won the World Series, and I'm covered in beer. Look at this. Brandon, I'm normally doing the intros here. I just got beer all over my desk and all over the laptop. So why don't you take the intro today, buddy? Because you predicted that Yamamoto would pitch. You predicted it would go to extra innings. I thought you were insane. And exactly what you thought happened ended up happening. And the Dodgers won the World Series with Yoshinobu Yamamoto winning World Series MVP. Take it away, Brandon. Just take your fucking... Take a bow, my friend.
Oh, my good God. I am right. What a ball knower's take. But, Jesse, that is not what we're here for. The Dodgers...
I am covered in beer. Back. It's all over my laptop. This is horrible, dude.
Hey, at least he didn't get it in your eye this time.
No, it's in my eye, too. Yeah.
Hey, proud of you, kid. You've been here before. You got to appreciate the burn. Yeah. Jesse, what a season it's been. But, my God, we have to talk about the GOAT one. None other than Yoshinobu Yamamoto. My God, I told you there was something behind pulling him in the sixth, in game 6. Doc had a plan, and it looked like when things were getting a little shaky, we weren't sure what his pitching plan was. And, you know, Jesse, you and I were texting. We weren't loving some of the calls, some of the levers being pulled, you know, Shohei coming out for the third. But damn, aside from that, it seemed like it all went according to plan no matter what. The Blue Jays were punching. They were kicking. They hit the long ball. It was looking grim, my friend. But
this was an incredible...
You gotta put the champ down, Jess. You gotta not.
Joe Davis, I gotta say, I know that he got a lot of shit for his commentary in this series, and I understand it. Like, some people feel because he's the Dodgers announcer that he was being very biased. But I also think there was some anti-Dodgers bias going on in the media throughout this World Series and playoff run that was talking constantly about the Dodgers and how do these teams beat the Dodgers. And it was more so about how the Blue Jays beat the Dodgers rather than, like, what do the Dodgers have to do to repeat, things like that. You know, it was very much how do we beat the Dodgers are this, like, David versus Goliath. And even John Schneider in his post-game today said that he thinks that was all bullshit, like saying David versus Goliath was insulting because he thought that they were worthy of being a champion. And I agree. I want to give Blue Jays a lot of their flowers for getting
100%.
They were incredible, dude. They would have been a worthy champion had they pulled this out. You know what I mean? Like, I think
1,000%.
I would have 100%, if we had lost this game, that I would have given Blue Jays all the credit in the world. I would have taken the trash talk and I would have said worthy champions from the fan base of one champion to another. Worthy. Like, that's a worthy champion right there. Just a heartbreaking loss for them. But Joe Davis on the call, when the double play gets turned, Joe Davis says, to beat the champ, you got to knock him out. Dodgers go back-to-back or whatever. It was a great call, I thought. I thought it was very, very good. Obviously very scripted and planned, but there are so many things that I want to say, and I don't even know where to begin. I lost my mind tonight. I think I genuinely, I was with friends, close friends. I FaceTimed you after the game. I was emotional. I was crying a little bit.
It was beautiful.
Well, it was more emotional than last year for sure, and last year probably meant more to the franchise because getting over 2020 and getting over that hump of people calling it a fake championship and all that stuff, and that beating the Yankees. But this one was like they really had to earn this one. It was a much harder World Series to win, and I lost my shit, and I was an emotional wreck. I called everybody. I cried for like 20 minutes. I was very,
Beautiful.
very, 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 very happy. That's my raw emotional response to all this, is like, to Dodger fans out there, like, how just happy I am for all of you, happy I am for us as a podcast and what we've done.
Dude,
Or, you know, we've
pod.
tried, since you and I have started this, we've won 2 World Series. I'm just super grateful for what we have, and like, I don't, you know, this isn't something that fans get a lot, and I feel like I have to soak in this moment and be grateful. But man, this was the win that this franchise needed to earn in a way that I don't think that we'd ever seen them earn. And, you know, where do we want to start with this? Because it didn't start well with Shohei on the mound. In the beginning, he didn't have it. It seemed obvious he didn't have it after 2 innings. He kind of scraped by and got out of some jams, and then he came up in the third and gave up a 3-run home run to Bo Bichette, when I thought he probably should have been pulled to go to Glasnow. And I have to admit, as a fan, I'm disappointed in how I reacted, because I was pretty bummed out, and I thought that we had just given the World Series away. And those are the negative thoughts creeping in my mind.
Ooh, and that is fair. And that is
know.
fair. And Jess, if you don't mind, I feel like there was something in me that just felt that if we could just keep it close into the late game, that we had a shot. And early on, I was right there with you. I wasn't sure that we were going to be able to do that. Shohei looked a little shaky, like command wasn't there. And I'm going to be honest, man. The Rogers Center was bumping. Nerves were high. Energy was just, talk about electric. And to my
Incredible
point,
fan base, dude. Incredible fan base in Toronto.
absolutely, tip of the cap. But to my point, we see in all, like, honestly, unexcusable error in the first inning on part of the Blue Jays, with George Springer getting thrown out, thinking Vladdy walked, but it was a strike 3 call. Will Smith throws down to second base. And I'm just using that as an example for, you know, a certified postseason, you know, stud, a guy who's hit so many home runs, whatever. I say that, you know, knowing he's cheated. But to give him his flowers, it's a guy with a lot of season on the skillet, making a huge error in the biggest game of the season. So
he was also impossible to get out in this game.
Absolutely. 3 for 5, I think,
Yeah.
or maybe 3 for 6 on the night. But my point is that you could tell Shohei was like pushing a little bit. There was a lot of mustard on the hot dog, meaning that he was throwing hard. But it seemed like maybe that was the only pitch he had command of.
Didn't have his slider and his curve. Yeah. It was
didn't have a feel for the zone.
Yeah.
And was laboring, to say the least.
First time ever pitching on 3 days rest in his career. And, you know, you don't want to make too many excuses for him because what his Japanese counterpart did later in the game.
Totally.
But, you know, a guy that's, you know, majority of the time spends as a hitter, going in and pitching Game 7 of the World Series, first time ever doing that on short rest. Like, you can forgive some of it, but you can only forgive it up to a point of, like, having feel as, like, a manager, knowing when your guy has it and when he doesn't. And I felt like Doc was trying to extend him a bit longer than he needed to go in this game.
Yeah, Jess, and I think this is what the difference is between a good manager and a great manager. And you know, Dave Roberts has now cemented his case as a first ballot Hall of Fame manager. You know, all doubts are erased. But you know, these pitchers are finely tuned machines. They are, you know, these are race cars that are tuned to the finest degree to come out and rip and roar, and they're not really meant to do these rugged kind of terrains that the postseason is, and coming in unoptimal conditions and asked to, you know, stretch and come in on a short rest and, you know, go that extra inning to go up, go down, what have you. And boy, did this staff answer the call, from Blake Snell to Tyler Glass. Now we got to see
Robleski
Justin Robleski was lights out, even getting to a little bit of a scrap.
Let's
motherfucker.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because this game really did have everything, dude. It had everything you could ask for in a World Series Game 7, and like there was a point where I was genuinely like almost happy that the Dodgers were down in the game, because I felt like I could enjoy it a little bit more than I do when the Dodgers are up in a playoff game, because that's just so much. Like watching your team pitch when you're up in a playoff game by 1 or 2 runs is so fucking stressful.
Dude, you're such an elder emo, by the way.
I know, but but watching that moment when Robleski, when Jimenez stuck his wrist up,
Death Cab album on.
And dude,
bumming, dude.
I tried to get Oasis tickets. Because Cage the Elephant was opening for them, and it was fucking absurd. By the way, like price gouging on tickets is out of control.
Yeah, dude, I paid more than I would like to admit for that World Series game, but anyways,
long story short,
we're riding high. What are we talking?
Yeah, Robleski, he pitched inside to Jimenez 3 different fastballs inside it. The second one, Jimenez,
Jesse, what do you call this? Yeah, what do you?
He stuck his wrist up trying to get hit, and then he gets mad when he does get hit. That was nonsense. And then, Robleski did the appropriate thing, responding, saying, "Shut the f up." Get back.
He stood on business, dude.
Yeah, he did.
Hey, with hair like Honeywell and an attitude like Joe Kelly, something about that performance tells me that he's ingratiated himself with Dodger fans indefinitely. Cheating scandal be damned.
I was just about to ask you a question. Is Robleski chasing the Toronto Honeys tonight? What do you think?
Jesse, if you will go back a few episodes, we talked about Robleski being on the roster, and I said nothing, and I mean nothing, will make the Honeys forget about a little cheating scandal like a World Series championship ring. And brother, he's got a parade coming his way. You're telling me there's not a whole fucking town of river rats just waiting to jump on that greasy haired son of a bitch?
Oh, the Latina Honeys are coming, baby. Just you wait. Yeah.
Oh, man. Hey, he's earned it, dude.
He has. He was great. I think he was 1 1/3 or something in this game. I have the box score.
1 1/3 for sure.
Yeah, and then Glasnow comes in, and I thought Glasnow was pretty solid. I know that he gave up a run, but just to say something about that run, I was getting frustrated in the game again because it went to 4-2 because the Dodgers scraped a couple runs. They got pretty unlucky because Teo hits a line drive to center. Varsho made an incredible play on it. Diving play that turned into a
dynamite series. Sorry for interrupting you.
Turning into a sacrifice.
Get mad at me about that.
Turned into a You don't let me speak, dude. I can never get a fucking word in edgewise with you.
Fucking hey, dude.
Varsho robs Teo. Like if that ball gets by Varsho, by the way, like we're talking extra bases, multiple runs. It turns out to be a sac fly, line out, and it's 3-1.
He plays such a high level center field.
He was a catcher, bro. He was a catcher, and now he plays center field. Yeah,
that's crazy. It was such a. I mean, as a baseball fan, it was a pleasure to watch him play baseball in this whole series. As a Dodger fan, it made me fucking want to puke, and I didn't enjoy it one bit at all. But there was that part of me in my soul that was like, such a good play. Like shit. Like he almost got that. He almost went up and got that ball off the wall. Who hit that? I don't even know that.
It was I think was that Smith? I think it was Smith. Yeah, who doubled. Yeah,
I don't recall now.
It was Smith. I think he doubled as well. I have to pull up the box.
It was filthy.
But in the same inning, the very next batter, Edman comes up, and he lines a ball down the line, which would have been foul by like maybe 3 or 4 inches, and Vladdy somehow catches it. I don't know how you catch a foul line out. It was just crazy to me. He was playing perfectly down the line and he got it, and it felt like the Dodgers got a little unlucky, but then I sort of took a step back and I was like, is that unlucky or is that just the Blue Jays play a great brand of baseball?
It did feel like, oh, this is what a team of destiny makes these plays in these big moments.
That's why I was
started to feel
feeling like it was the Blue Jays' year, because they were making
Yeah.
all the right plays at the right time. Even when Pages came up in extra innings and couldn't get the run across, it was like they're making all the right plays at the right time. We'll get to that though. So it becomes 3-2. I got to get the game cast up here. How did we get to 3-2? Do you remember?
Oh man, it was.
Sorry, give me a second.
Inning.
Yeah, it was 6th inning. Dodgers. So
Was it the Muncy home run?
No. So in the I'm looking at the box score here.
That was the Mookie walk, and he would get sacked in.
I'm looking at it right now. Scoring. 6th. Edman out on a sac fly to center field. Oh yeah, that was right. He hit Edman hit kind of a flare, a shallow fly ball to center field, and Mookie scored. And that was huge, because I was worried that Mookie was going to get thrown out there. So then it becomes 3-2, and then this is where I got frustrated, because Glass now gives up a run because he gives up a double to. Where the fuck is it? I just lost the page. So in the 6th, Jimenez doubled, and Teoscar tried to cut the ball off in right center field, and he was like 4 feet away from it, got past him, the run scored, and it became 4-2. I was texting everybody.
You were losing your mind
because
in that moment.
If you had a right fielder that had range and that could cover their position, he was 4 feet away from the ball. Like any other competent right fielder, I think, gets that ball. And I was very frustrated with that. I'm not saying it would have been a clean play. I'm not saying he wouldn't have had to dive for it, but Teo wasn't even in a position to be able to dive for it. And I was getting
it's frustrating because it's Jimenez. We'd already have the dust up with him, and he's a guy you pencil in your lineup that you go, all right, we can get this guy right. We can definitely attack him.
He's had a great postseason though, so you do got to give him some credit. But yeah,
totally. But with Clement in front of him, I mean, Clement we couldn't get him out. Just period. It was just a guy you couldn't get out all damn game. What was his final stat line?
Clement had like 4 hits. Three hits. Yeah, he hit 400 on the playoffs. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Clement,
411 with
411,
562 slug. So just
he was amazing.
He was having his way with our pitching staff. But yeah, to let Jimenez get that double there to score the run, it kind of felt like, damn, can they scratch out another 2 runs? It was feeling dire at that
It felt like 4 runs. We were down by 4 or something. That's why
you saw Savage warming up, and you go, fuck, we have had no success against this guy. Like, what are we doing here?
And we knew that we were going to have to get to like one of those guys eventually the more we saw them, like Hoffman, who had kind of owned us, Sir Anthony Dominguez, who had kind of owned us, Savage, who had kind of owned us. I thought that we had good at-bats against Scherzer, and we kind of got unlucky not to score more, same as the first game a little bit, but kudos to Max Scherzer, who might be retiring after this game, we don't know. He was great. He hit almost 5 innings.
Performance. Awesome performance.
He kept us in the ballpark, but then comes
it was
Savage.
driving us nuts, dude. I know we were texting about it. You sent me some of the screenshots from the game cast, but
they were just off. Yeah, they were just off, like right down the middle against Scherzer, and they were timing it and just like a millimeter off, and it became
you
warning
saw Edmund
track.
just missed one. Will Smith missed one.
Freddie just missed one too.
Freddie just missed one. Yeah, and it kind of felt like when we're watching that and then seeing the Blue Jays make these stellar defensive plays that we had mentioned before. Like you said, dude, Jess, it really did feel in the moment like, are we watching a team of destiny here? Like dethrone the champs. And don't get me wrong, I was dooming a little bit with you, but I wasn't there yet. I was like, damn it, you're still gonna have to get us, because I really liked how we were matching up after the Blue Jays made some aggressive moves, for
I really liked
Bo. I forget, there was another defensive substitution in the lineup that took I don't know, their number 2 guy in the lineup out. I forget.
So I have it here. Blue Jays. So Luke's got replaced by Schneider and Straw. Bichette got replaced by Kiner Falefa. So those are the replacements that they made in this game, and I thought that the Bichette replacement kind of was big because kind of Falefa, I will take that over Bo Bichette any fucking day of the week, especially what we saw
after
in early in the game, which it felt like that was like the game-winning hit of the World Series, going down 3-0.
Jesse, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Where do you rank that pimp job by Bo Bichette?
It was pretty sick.
It
was pretty sick, and it's like it's weird the way he swings and hits it, like because he looks little. He doesn't look big, but I think he is pretty big, pretty thick, and like pretty strong. And the way he hit it, it went way farther than I expected it to be. But sometimes you just have to look at the reaction of the hitter, and you look at the reaction, you're like, oh, he just fucked us.
Yeah,
he just fucked us big time. Yeah,
it felt like it could have been a knockout punch in that moment. And you know what? I did have a real thought came to my mind was, wow, he just got so paid. Any discussion?
I think
of
he's
Bo
paid
not
anyway,
being
but
worth
yeah.
it. Oh, totally. But if there was any discussion, because he didn't really perform before here, didn't play before.
Well, this World Series, he's been great.
Yeah, in this World Series, he's just been outstanding. I think he was like the batting champion or had the most hits in the AL this year.
Yeah.
So just an unreal run for Bo Bichette. I mean, Vladdy was unreal. So much talent in Toronto. Like, it's such a tip of the cap. What a series. Extra innings, 11 innings.
Yeah.
An 18-inning game. The games that Toronto won were so decisive. And it just seemed like the Dodgers were just kind of outlasting them.
Dodgers won all the close games. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And I hate to make this comparison, but it really kind of felt like Rocky versus Clubber Lang. I think that's Rocky 3. But Clubber Lang, played by Mr. T, is just an out-and-out stud. And the way Rocky wins is he weathers the storm of Clubber Lang's overwhelming blows and finally is able to crack his defense.
I don't remember what were the betting odds in that Rocky 3 movie where was Rocky a favorite going into the fight? Yeah.
Sicko.
Well, no, because everybody was talking about the Dodgers being a lock in the series and how they needed every inning of this game and literally down to the final 2 outs to get it to extra innings. I'm just interested to know.
I think Rocky was the champion at the time. He had beaten Apollo Creed.
So in the movie, do you know what like the narrative was? Like when they cut to media scenes in that movie, like was the narrative like, oh, Rocky should be able to handle this guy, or was it like, oh, this guy's a big challenger to the champion? I don't know. I haven't seen it. I think
it was that Clubber Lang was the way hungrier fighter, and Rocky was the complacent champ.
Got it. Okay. Well, anyways, we get to the 8th inning.
We've lost the plot, dude.
Yeah, we get to the 8th inning. It's 4-2. And we said that Max Muncy, we've talked ad nauseum about how important this guy is to the Dodgers and what they do. And he had a great game. He was 3 for 4. He had a walk. And then he comes up in the 8th inning. What? Just fucking,
Jesse, you're not going to believe this.
Okay.
But if you just give a simple Google search for the plot of Rocky 3, it really fits this World Series narrative. But having become the heavyweight world champion, former working class boxer Rocky Balboa, a.k.a. the Los Angeles Dodgers, is rich and famous beyond his wildest dreams.
Right.
Which has made him lazy and overconfident.
Post-2020 Dodgers. Yeah.
Yep,
right.
In a double whammy, he loses his trainer and father, Clayton Kershaw.
Right.
Figure Mickey.
Right.
And then comes...
He's like a ghost figure in the background, right? Yeah.
And then has his title stolen by arrogant, menacing challenger Clubber Lang,
Houston
a.k.a.
Astros.
the Toronto... the Toronto Blue Jays, turning his former adversary Apollo Creed for help. Rocky struggles to get his old fire back. But boy, did they get it back in Game 7 of the World Series, brother.
Let's get it. We're gonna. I love it. But let's continue
Cinephiles,
because voice. I want to give Muncy some kudos here. And it's weird how the Dodgers won this game,
Free
truthfully,
agent.
because the Blue Jays had 14 hits, Dodgers had 11, but it felt more than that for some reason. It felt like the Blue Jays did more in this game, just that the Blue Jays had the one big 3-run homer where the Dodgers had the 3 big solo homers, right? So it just felt like the Blue Jays were doing more, whereas the Dodgers chipped away in this game. And Muncy hitting that home run off of Savage, who the Dodgers obviously could not touch in Game 5, cuts it to 4-3. So you start to say, okay, all they have to do is scrape one run, and we can get this to extra innings. And I swear to you, Brandon, as I'm watching the game, I'm thinking, like, this motherfucker Brandon predicted before in yesterday's or today's, was it this morning that we recorded? I don't remember.
We recorded this morning, yeah.
Where you said, I have a weird fucking feeling that we're going to extra innings. And I thought to myself, I was like, this motherfucker, if he's right, I'm going to be so mad, but I'm also going to be so happy. You know, I was like, I'm just, because I don't want this to happen. Like, put me out of my misery or like win the game, right? Those are the two emotions that I have. Like, don't make me go through this. Don't give me hope in the 9th inning. First batter gets out in the 9th inning. I think it was Kike, kind of a poor at bat. Had a bad game at the plate. And then I was talking to my friends saying, Miguel Rojas' defense has been amazing in this World Series. But in the past 2 games especially, do you pinch hit here with Shohei on deck? Like, maybe you go to this is where you go to Ha-Sung Kim to pinch hit and try to get on base for Shohei. And everybody we were debating it, we were talking about it, and literally mid-conversation talking about it. Miguel Rojas hits one of the most important home runs in the history of the Dodgers. I lost my shit, dude. I went fucking crazy. I couldn't believe what I just looked at. It was one of the most special moments in the history of the franchise because
100%.
the Blue Jays were 2 outs away from winning the World Series.
Yeah. Jesse, at that point, I
Miguel
looked on
Rojas.
Jesse, to your point, it was
This is a Bucky Dent moment. No, Brandon, this is the Dodgers' Bucky Dent moment. You know what I mean? Like, this is the guy that nobody expected to hit a homer, and he hit a homer. And it saved the season.
The winning percentage at that at-bat was at 91.7%.
Mm-hmm.
It's all but over there, brother. Miguel Rojas had 1 postseason home run in his entire career before that at bat. There was no way he was supposed to hit a dinger there, but he sits on a breaking ball that catches too much of the plate, and he's done what we've seen him do with that pitch all years. He puts it over the left field wall. He pulls it. And Jesse, we were talking about it in today's episode about the Game 6 lineup and the decision to put in Rojas over Kim and that veteran mindset. And how many times do you think Miguel Rojas has been in a big at bat and he's seen a pitch like that, or just had to grind one out, or maybe even seen Bieber, and it's just, you know what, that repetition.
Well, it was off Hoffman. It was Hoffman.
Sorry, you're right. Yeah. Off Hoffman. Bieber was later. Sorry. But Dave Roberts uses the term that there are guys that go about their work and they honor the game. And if you honor the game honors you. And tonight, the game honored Miggy Rojas in one of the most iconic home runs in World Series history to give his team a chance to repeat as champions. My God, Jesse. I mean, when I say it was euphoric, I'm a dad now, dude. I got a 2-year-old. I'm living damn Groundhog's Day. I'm up at 3:45 for work. I'm a blue-collar guy. I'm doing construction shit. I come home. I pick up my daughter. It's, we loop it. We watch these games. Jesse, it was the closest to popping a molly at a rave that I've had since 2015. Let me tell you, Jesse, it was a good time.
I love that for you. I'm so happy for you.
My wife and I are watching this game.
Yeah.
I've never done drugs before. That's just an analogy.
We hung out at Coachella in like 2015 or 16.
Chill
or
out,
it was.
dweeb, dude.
Right.
Everybody's gonna think we don't get laid or something, dude.
We're both. Hey, we're both married. We definitely don't get laid. Yeah.
But Jesse, there was a moment where we were watching before Rojas hit that at bat, where I'm standing up at the TV and I'm just like, and my wife is just there and she's freaking out, and we got the rally towels, and she looks at me and she's like, I hate that you did this to me. She's just a diehard Dodger fan. Like one of our first dates was at a Dodger game, a playoff game.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't even a playoff game, dude. You know what it was? It was Corey Seager's starting debut. Jimmy Rollins had been benched.
2015.
2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My lady and I have been together a decade. It's crazy. But
dude,
anyways.
I love that because, and I love that you were so, I just love hearing that sort of stuff because it just, I don't know, man. This is why I got emotional when I called you, because I know that this shit is just a game, but we have,
dude,
we have like ties to this that goes back so long, and I'm just, it was magical, dude. Watching Rojas do that,
man. It was special, dude. From Rojas being there to Kershaw's no hitter, to now this moment and getting to see them get to be repeat champs. Jesse, going back to Doc's quote, Kershaw is a guy that has honored the game and just been a representative for baseball the right way. And the game seems like it was unfair to him in so many ways. A guy that led his team in strikeouts and led the league, was a Triple Crown winner, 3-time Cy Young, an MVP, had put this franchise on his back. The Dodgers are not the Triple Crown, triple platinum, diamond encrusted, jewel fucking dripping thing that they are today without the example and the bricks in the foundation that had been laid by this guy, Clayton Kershaw. And now to see him get, kind of just like vaulted to that position where we saw him in the bullpen getting ready with Roki, to maybe get the most important outs of his career. And he was put in that position by an old salty dog like fucking Miguel Rojas and a guy like Max Muncy that was just, DFA'd from the fucking Athletics. Thanks a lot, John Fisher. You know what I mean? These guys, our captain, Will Smith, our homegrown
we're going to talk about Will Smith pretty
$100
soon.
million man, a guy that had a real case to be the World Series MVP. Mookie grinding every at bat out, is the, walk that ends up being the sac fly. That's a run. There's all these scratch runs that these guys, that these superstars, that these guys that should be just hitting the ball over the park, and this should be no big deal, That's the whole freaking narrative that, LA bought their team, and instead of it, these guys are all paid market value.
They bought this championship with people that are the highest quality people you can probably invest money in the sport of
and
baseball.
They're all guys that other teams had a chance to either sign or keep and said, you know what, we're going to spend our money otherwise. And the Dodgers said, you know what, you got a home here, and look what happens when you invest in your guys and in your core. You get this, you get stars, you get homegrown talent,
but you also
get brotherhood. And look at how these guys showed out for Vesia. Freddie Freeman brought up Clayton Kershaw in his post-game speech within the first 3 words. I heard these guys talking about the Vesias, and it's just special, man. And there's a lot of haters out there, but damn it, Jesse, this is a fucking incredible moment.
You're like, you're getting me horny right now, Brandon. We got to tone it down here because we haven't even gotten to the end of this game yet.
Sorry, dude. It's just been such a journey, bro.
No, I get it. I'm a little buzzed. To the people at home, I've had a few. If my clothes are any indication, I'm covered in beer. My laptop is covered in beer right now. No notes on what you just said.
Sorry, brother.
And
That was just all from the heart. I apologize if I was.
no, you're good. But I mean, like, just to get back to like the Rojas moment and it being like something that the game rewards you. I mean, I thought that was last night in Game 6, where him being in the game was that play that he made. I thought that was like the game rewarding him, and he basically earned his right to play in Game 7. It was Doc was basically saying like, you have earned your right as a player on this team to play in this game. And I do have something to say about who he replaced in the lineup, one Andy Pages, who I do want to say something about when we get there. So Rojas ties it up in the ninth. By the way, we don't even get to this situation if Blake Snell doesn't come in with a leadoff double and pitching out of it.
What a nut up performance, for fucking Snellzilla.
He came in, he redeemed himself against this lineup, which was clearly giving him some trouble. And then we go to the bottom of the ninth.
Such a pro.
Snell comes in and gets Guerrero out. Bichette singles. Barger walks. So it's first and second, one out. And this is when the game became a storybook. It became the greatest World Series Game 7 I've ever seen in my life. Because Yoshinobu Yamamoto comes in out of relief on 0 days of rest after winning the game before, after pitching a complete game in Game 2, in winning Game 2, and after also trying to come out in relief in the Game 3 18-inning affair, willing to pitch in that game as well on 1 day rest.
Boy wanted all the smoke.
This guy entered a new stratosphere tonight, and we're not even at that point yet. But this is going to go long, guys. Just be prepared for what's about to happen, because
soak it in.
Yamamoto comes in, gets out of it. He, I think he gets a force play. Oh, he hits a batter.
Hits Kirk.
Gets bases loaded. And then there's a force play at home by Rojas. Rojas makes an incredible play. I think he lost balance and then made the throw home, and it looked like Smith's foot came off the plate for a second and ended up coming back down and tapping it just in time.
Insane play.
Yeah, and then
game of inches, man.
I mean, we're talking if his foot was up for like a split second longer, the Blue Jays are World Series champions right now. Just on replay, too. On fucking replay. That would have been wild. And then Ernie Clement flies out.
Yeah, Varsho had grounded into the field.
This is the play I wanted to talk about. So Andy Pages came in as a defensive replacement. And then Ernie Clement comes up, and Yamamoto throws a splitter down in the zone that Clement digs out. I mean, this guy's amazing. I don't know how he keeps making this good contact. Somehow, I thought it was a routine fly ball, but it's somehow Kike is running trying to make an over the shoulder catch.
Oh yeah,
and then out of the corner of the screen, Andy Pages comes in and he fucking murks Kike, knocks him, body slams him to the ground, and takes it for himself. And I made a video about it. I made a video reaction because I couldn't believe what I just saw. It was Andy Pages made the defensive play of the game, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolute insanity. Doc again pushing the right button. Pages, a guy who's just had a putrid offensive performance all postseason, makes up for it all in the biggest play of the year. Jesse, it was a 78-mile-an-hour first pitch curveball.
Okay.
Just Clement is just on another level, just making insane contact, and was in, a couple feet of just ending it all with a walk-off grand slam. But instead, Pages with the Superman play. Wow. I mean, Edmund doesn't get to that ball. You know what I mean? With the limited mobility and the height difference.
Pages was in there for, I think he came in mid-inning, didn't he? Because they had the runner on third, so they were like, okay, we need the arm.
Yeah,
we need his arm. And so I think
it's just crazy how that works out.
It was wild.
Game of inches, brother.
And Kike was laughing. He loved it. He didn't give a shit that he got bowled over like that. What a play by Pages.
Yeah.
And it just so many chances by the Blue Jays here. They were so close to being champions.
Ugh.
It's got to be heartbreaking for them. Next inning, the Dodgers ended up loading the bases because
this one made me sick, bro.
Yeah, Mookie walked after a Friedman fly out, so one out walk. Muncy singled. Teo had a great at bat and he drew a walk.
Best at bat of the postseason, dude, for real.
And then Pages came up, and I was like, of course, Andy Pages getting the the World Series winning hit would be just amazing. He ends up having a good at bat, by the way. Just it gets jammed and hits a weak grounder to short. The runner gets forced out at home, and then I think Kike
grounded out.
It was very close. Like he hit a check swing grounder to first that he almost beat out. It was very close. Anyways, goes to the bottom of the 10th. Jimenez grounds out. Springer strikes.
That's when Yamamoto comes out.
No, he was already in the 9th. Yama's already in the 9th, so he comes out for his second inning.
Sorry. Yeah. This is my point. Sorry, I just wanted to say this is when I was like really worried because I'm like, all right, we sat him down. I thought we were just going to use Yama for an inning, to be honest. So I was nervous, but when I saw him come out, I was like,
nobody
screw it, dude. He's our best. He's our psycho killer, dude.
Brandon, nobody was in the bullpen. In the top of the 10th. Nobody was in the fucking bullpen. It was. I know that Kershaw got in there at one point in the 11th, I think, but nobody was in the bullpen.
Yeah, him and Roki were side by side. I actually kind of want to get that tattooed on me. I don't know why.
It's
Sorry,
go
sick.
ahead. Anyways, 1-2-3 inning for Yama in the 10th. So then the 11th inning comes around, and you're thinking Shohei has to do something here. Rojas grounded out. Shohei grounded out on first pitch, 2 outs quickly, and you're like, oh man, this is gonna be a long fucking night, isn't it? This is gonna be a long fucking night. And then Will Smith, man.
You saw a couple.
Will Smith against Shane Bieber, who came in out of relief on, 3 days rest, 2 days rest, I forget. And he took a curveball, deposited it into the left field bullpen to give the Dodgers a 5-4 lead, 3 outs away from back-to-back World Series. And for Will Smith to do what he did
300
was special for me personally. Because you mentioned being a homegrown guy, it felt like that was something that the Dodgers needed to happen. I mean, they paid him. They gave him a lot of money this year. And, he caught 18 innings of Game 3. He's been playing with recovering from a fractured hand, and he's been so great. I mean, just to give you some, notes on Will Smith's postseason, he's hit 276 with a 778 OPS. I mean, he's not, this isn't, amazing stuff, but in terms of...
Huge for a catcher, brother.
For a catcher, being a guy that plays every day, he's just come up with so many big hits in this postseason, dude. In the Phillies series, big hit, in the Brewers series, big hit. A couple games in the World Series, he had the go-ahead homer off of Gossman in Game 2. He's been just such a steady presence in this Dodgers lineup to the point that they moved him up to the 2-hole because they had
paid dividends,
and it paid off. Man, he hits the go-ahead home run, which turned out to be all the difference. And I got goosebumps, dude. I was so happy it was him, brother. Dude. Yeah.
Magical. Jesse, there was a stat that I'd heard during the broadcast, and the numbers are a little foggy on me, so I apologize, but Will Smith caught the most innings of any catcher in World Series history. I don't know the total number of innings, but crap, put 7 together, plus another 9, plus whatever it was tonight. 3 extra innings?
Yeah, he caught 12, 11 tonight. 11 tonight, yeah.
Yeah, 11 tonight, plus 18, plus another, 9 times, 5. So that's, he set a record tonight, and it's crazy for a guy that had a fractured hand, that didn't play in the wild card round, or he didn't even start the divisional round, did he?
No, it was, that's true. He did not. He came in, I think, halfway through the series, yeah.
Yeah, which was a weird call.
Well, he was pinch hitting later in games, and I think he had a big hit in Game 2 or something, where it was like a big single that scored some runs. I'd have to go back and look, but no, this was like you said, Will Smith. He's my MVP in the lineup in terms of he was the most steady, consistent player on the Dodgers offense. Obviously, Shohei did amazing things, but I think Will was the most like consistent offensive force that the Dodgers had in this run. And I'm just happy for him that he ends up ultimately getting the game-winning home run, because
worth every penny.
Because we go to the bottom of the 11th, and it didn't start so well, dude. Yama comes in. Justin Dean was a defensive replacement for Teoscar. Paez
was in right field and
moved to center, or so it moved to right field from center.
Yeah.
And Hae-Sung Kim comes in for Rojas, which I thought was interesting. I was a little bit surprised by that move. Leading off the inning, Vladimir Guerrero worked the count very well and hits a nasty fastball that was like inner half of, like, that kind of, I thought would have jammed him, and Vladdy put it down the left field line, lead off double, and you just think, oh my God, here we go. The Blue Jays are going to tie it. This is it.
Yeah, to your point, John Smoltz was really singing Vladdy's praise on that. He's like,
he
most
was
guys
incredible,
do not
dude.
even get to that. He's like, but for him to get his hands in and to get the barrel on that and to pull it. I mean, I really want to give John Smoltz credit. I thought he did a great job on the broadcast. I mean, I guess just growing up, seeing him pitch, like, I guess I really take his commentary with like a bit of reverence. So I don't know. I guess it carries weight to me, but I don't know. Just hearing him really break down that at bat, it just helped me, like, I don't know, have some words for what I'm seeing, because I was just too emotional. I'm like, here we go. A bunt and a bloop, and it's tied up.
So
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, because, next up was Kiner Falefa, who was in the Bichette spot. This is where that Bo Bichette move was massive, which is why I was happy he left the game, because it kind of becomes an automatic out at that point. Like John Schneider, I think, maybe might have made a mistake by pulling Bo from this game. I know that Bo was hurt. He couldn't run, but, man, how huge was it in this spot? Because Kiner Falefa, they didn't even think about having him swing. He bunts him over, gets Vladdy to third, 1 out, runner in third. And then it was basically, and Addison Barger comes up, and I was surprised this wasn't an intentional walk from the beginning, because Barger has been so good against righties. He's been so tough this whole series. Like, this guy's been fucking awesome. And it was basically an intentional walk. Yama threw 4 straight balls. None of them were hittable. It was basically just hoping that he would chase and pound one into the dirt, and they could throw a runner out at home. That was basically the plan. Yeah. So Barger walks.
Smart move.
Barger walks first and third, bottom of the 11th, 1 out. Blue Jays have the World Series winning run on first base, and now it becomes Alejandro Kirk. Yama gets it to 2 strikes, and in my mind, I swear to God, Yama's not going to make a mistake. He's going to get a ground ball. It might result in a run, but Yama's going to get a ground ball. I swear, that was my thought. And it was the most perfect ground ball you could have ever imagined. Right to Mookie. So perfectly, to the point he didn't even have to toss it to Hae-Sung Kim. He took it himself, throws it to first, double play, Dodgers repeat, and Joe Davis says, in order to beat the champ, you got to knock him out. Dodgers go back to back. And it was one of the great baseball moments of my life. And it probably, you know what, I have to say, I think it was the greatest Dodgers moment of my life, because they really had to earn that win in a way that I don't think that they've ever had to earn a win to win a championship in any other time in my life. Because, we've won 3. They're officially a dynasty, right? Have you ever seen the Dodgers
100%.
earn a win, earn a championship the way the Blue Jays made them earn it tonight? I don't think so.
I don't think so, man. I mean, not in modern history. I mean, I think maybe
Dodgers
that
history.
80
I'm saying, like in terms, yeah,
totally. I mean, I was gonna say, I think you think of maybe like the '88 team, defeating that mighty Oakland team, and it's like,
I
oh,
was
did they deserve
3.
to be here?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't even. I was in the whom, but
Mm.
my bad, dog. But my point is, yeah, dude, this is about as miracle on ice as it gets. I know I'm not saying it's an underdog thing, but coming back from 3-2 and the way they had lost was so decisive and Vladdy was so dominant. There had been so many guys making stellar plays for the Blue Jays up and down the lineup. Chris Bassett had kicked our ass coming out of the pen. Varsho was a nightmare for us out in center field. Bo Bichette just felt like he was raking. I could go on forever, baby.
Bo Bichette was awesome. He was so good, man. That guy's such a good hitter. It's crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the reason why you heard people screaming that the Dodgers should have tried to trade for him last year. Obviously, wasn't going to happen, but
They might just sign him in the
understand
offseason.
it. Well, we'll see.
Him and Kyle Tucker. Hey, Dodgers, we need more players. Could you imagine they signed Tucker and Bichette after winning the championship? How pissed off baseball fans are going to get.
Oh my God! Fools would just throw the controller.
Yeah. But they're moving Mookie back to second, or
Oh
I mean,
man,
yeah.
they were just—it was insanity, dude. Jesse, this game had it all.
It's the best game I've ever watched in my life. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's reminiscent of that 2016 Indians Cubs game. I know, again, that was both the lovable underdogs, the two teams trying to break proverbial curses. But this was two teams trying to cement themselves at the top of the heap. And not just in, this season. The Blue Jays are no joke. They are staking their flag as we are here to claim the AL East. Hey, Yankees, Boston, take your history, take your pedigrees, shove them up your ass. It's a Canadian Maple Leaf era, and boy, they were just a few outs away from really throwing that in all of America's face.
Just got a comment on yesterday. Sorry, really quick comment on this morning's video on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And a guy said, "Yo, one of you guys literally said 5-4 Dodgers in a close game." So that was me. But I think Brandon deserves the most credit because you picked Yamamoto to close it out and go to extra innings. And should we just sorry, before do you have anything more to say that you were saying? Because I do want to give some Yamamoto glazing at some point.
Just before I finish the Yamamoto glaze, or we go into the Yamamoto glazing, I just it's just insane. I can't believe what we just saw. That's all. Beautiful
game. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, dude. He entered a different level tonight. That was when I had to take a second to sort of just like watch him and like really lock in on what I was looking at. And maybe it was partially because we do this podcast and you predicted this would happen, where I was maybe like I'm hyping up in my mind in a way that I wouldn't normally. But like when you really just like break it down about a guy, he won 3 of the 4 games in this series. 3 of the 4 games in this series, and in that other game that they won, he was warming up in the bullpen in the 18th inning.
Wow,
willing to come in on 1 day's rest. He comes in on 0 days rest and pitches 2 2/3 after throwing 96 pitches and getting the win, and pitches out of not 1 but 2 jams with a runner on third, less than 2 outs. Pitches out of both of them. Or sorry, the first one was first and second, maybe, I forget. But 2 jams with multiple runners on. He comes in and gets out of it. It's like it. I know that it gets lost because we don't have a lot of complete games anymore. We don't have these workhorses anymore that we have in baseball. This is the most like throwback thing that we have seen in recent baseball memory. or I think of Randy Johnson when the
Yeah.
Diamondbacks won the World Series. I think he pitched
Kurt
like
Schilling.
three or four times in that series, and he had got like 3 wins and a save in Game 7 or something like that. I forget. Or he got the win in Game 7 on the Luis Gonzalez walk-off. So this was on par with those performances, and I feel like a legend was born tonight. Like a true legend of the sport that's going to be remembered forever. And as Dodger fans, don't take it for granted. Do not take this for granted. This is different, man. What you just saw.
Yeah.
This is a different human being. Like, I know that we think that like Kershaw could have done this, and I'm sure he could have done this at some point if he had a little bit more luck on his side in the playoffs. But Yama is 27 years old. He was already a multiple Sayamura, whatever the Cy Young of Japan is.
Sayamura Award winner.
Yeah, whatever it is. Anyways.
No, you got it, brother. Come on now.
He is going to go down as one of the greatest pitchers of all time when his career is over. Watch it happen in real time. He's only 27. He could do this again. And that was unbelievable, dude. I don't even know what to say about it. That was just fucking special, and I'm in awe of him as a human being, and the kind of work that he puts in on himself and his preparation, and to be able to do what he did, and look as good as he did, was just I fucking don't know what to say. That was just awesome.
Jesse, we're going to see a lot of Yamamoto jerseys in the near future, all over Los Angeles and around the country, and for good reason. This was, to your point, a special performance. I mean, I know it might sound a little hyperbolic, but like I feel like this was like a Jordan-esque finals performance. There is a whole generation
not hyperbolic at all. Yeah,
dude, this is a whole generation of young fans that are, little leaguers and shit, Jess, that are picking up balls and going out on the mound, going like, it's Game 7 of the World Series. It's the 11th inning. I'm out. I've already pitched a complete game. You know what I mean? And you start saying it, and it's like, all right, this is like fever dream stuff that a kid that's seen The Sandlot too many times is dreaming up to, help drive them. But Jesse, for Yoshi Yamamoto, it's reality. It is why he commanded $325 million without ever throwing a pitch in the MLB. It is why dumbasses like Josh Reddick are just somewhere sucking down a Corona Lita, not even a full Corona, like an 8-ounce one, because I bet he's a little weird cuck like that.
Pacifico.
Not to kink shame, but like, I just love that
Josh Reddick is somebody I would kink shame, by the way.
I love that tweet is going to live in infamy as Yamamoto just absolutely shines.
Josh Reddick is such an asshole, he'll probably take credit for what happened because it's like, lit a fire under his ass,
Dude, guys like him, Roki. I mean, Shohei's already proven that his contract was a steal.
Dude,
nothing to do with the deferred money, but even at the $700 million, it was well worth it. And I hope other teams like really take heed and go, hey man, if you just pay players market value, like what is a Tarek Skubal worth? Like not $80 million over 4 years.
This
why don't
also
we keep these stars where they need to be and build around them. Sorry, go ahead.
Look what just happened with Vladdy. I mean, they paid him $500 million, and the Blue Jays were like 2 outs away from a World Series and like multiple chances away from winning in extra innings.
What a team they have too. I mean, such insane talent.
Yeah, but
what a staff. Like, I mean, that's an organization that is breeding winners because they took older players like a Chris Bassett and made him an unhittable nightmare for this team.
What would they be like with Shohei if they had signed him?
Dude, Max Scherzer missed 3 months this season.
Yeah.
And, he held the Dodgers to 1 run over, what was it, like 5 1/3 or whatever, 4 1/3. It just,
to say
all the kudos in the world to that team and that
organization. Absolutely. To say something about Yama, though, I think this is also like a sign of just how great Japan is and their league, and how we as Americans could be a little bit more respectful about how we view players coming from over there, that these are these guys are playing on a real level that is comparable to Major League Baseball. It might not be to the same power, velocity, things like that, but that they are a competitive league that I think is probably more indicative, that performance in Japan is more indicative, and you can project it better than you would projecting players coming out of college, or the minor leagues even. I think that you can get a better idea of what a player is coming, because he was only 25 when he signed with the Dodgers. He was very young, 2023 when he came over, and the guy has lived up in every single way, and he's proven to be worth every single penny. And the Yankees didn't want to pay more than Garrett Cole's contract out of respect for Garrett Cole. What has Garrett Cole done to equate to what Yoshinobu Yamamoto has done in 2 years in the league? You know what I'm saying? We can have some respect for these Japanese players coming over, because they're real, and they have a real competitive balance over there that is equivalent to Major League Baseball. And I'm just so grateful that the Dodgers have 3 of these guys, because it's
unreal,
special people.
So special. Jesse, I just want to say one thing to that point too, man. And I think that Yamamoto is not only just like a great international ambassador for the game, but I think he's a great example that you don't have to be a Tyler Glass now. You don't have to be a genetic freak with this crazy length and, look like he could be a professional swimmer if this didn't work out, or, some massive guy throwing 102, or like even Ohtani, he's a crazy guy, size guy that you can find a way to throw the ball that works for your body type, using advanced mechanics and leverage and throwing a javelin and, like torque and whatnot. It's impressive. And I think it's ushering in a new era of baseball and a new way to throw, and I think it's going to start saving guys' arms in the future. And we're seeing a guy in real time. I'm not joking, Jesse. I think we're seeing a guy in real time be a maverick in the sport and usher in a new era of mechanics and body preparation for pro pitchers all over the world. And if you don't believe me, check out what 5'10", 175 Yoshi Yamamoto just did on the biggest stage on the planet. My GOAT.
Yep. There's so many different things I could say. I'm sure I'm forgetting some things I wanted to say about him, but his reaction on the mound. Go back and rewatch the highlights. He realized he got the double play, but he also kind of just looked up and put his arms out and took his hat off, and he looked up like, I fucking just did that shit. You know what I mean? It was. I mean, he was so proud of himself, and why wouldn't you be, dude?
God, how could you not? I'm proud of him. I've never met him.
It was a hard sell for me to change the background on my phone screen from Bueller last year when he came in the ninth and struck out Alex Verdugo and did that fucking baller ass, did you see what that shit I just did? That reaction. But this one might. I might change my background, man. I'm gonna have to.
Well, it was a lot easier than switching that Julio Urias one with Austin Barnes, dude. After that guy turned out to be a real knucklehead.
Julio Urias.
Fucking
Julio. Yeah. I think you said Julio Rodriguez, but yeah, no.
Whatever, dude. He's dead to me either way.
How good would this team be though with him, man? You know what I'm saying? No, I'm joking.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, dude. Only if they would have got Bauer.
Look, you baseball fans can get mad all they want at the Dodgers and all the money they spend. Think about how fucking unlucky that they've been with some of this stuff. They had Urias, they had Bauer. 2 of their best pitchers got canceled.
Older fans would remember that they had made a move to sign Aroldis Chapman right before his domestic violence,
and they did the right thing. And then the Yankees turned out to be
the Reds.
The Yankees became enablers.
Whoa, dude! I don't want to woke shame. I'm just
saying.
I'm just kidding. Whatever. I'm just joking.
So
not funny.
let's end on a very, very sentimental and important note here, because
please,
I don't know if you saw what Clayton Kershaw looked like when he was running down from the bullpen, realizing that he was going out a champion. But you could see him I think he had some tears in his eyes, and it was real. And that's it. We didn't see, my fan fiction didn't come true. Yours did, and I give you all the credit in the world for that. But Kershaw didn't get a chance to pitch in this game, but he did get a big out in Game 3, and essentially saved that game for the Dodgers. Goes out a 3-time champion, and his time as a Dodger is over. I think that we owe it to him and to his family to sort of end this episode by saying goodbye to Clayton Kershaw, and what a moment that was for him. And fuck, I'm gonna cry again, bro. I can't fucking do it.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I was just happy for him.
Yeah, it was beautiful getting to see him and his family out there. I mean, we've watched Clayton go. I mean, grow, really. I was, I think, a freshman in college when he took the pill for the first time for the Boys in Blue. I remember him being signed when I was in high school. It was like, oh, dude, this guy, he's like a grade above us or whatever. And it was just such a big deal to.
Is he your age? Are you guys the same age?
I'm 36.
He's 37. Okay, yeah.
So I graduated high school 07. He was 06. Yeah. Shouts out 07. 6'7".
6'7", dude.
Anyways, that's Spanish. Yeah, dude, to see Clayton and Ellie just do this whole run together from high school sweethearts to now this soon-to-be family of 5, I think, they have 7 of them, but I think there's 5 kids. I think they're about to have their 5th, or maybe there's 4. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But to just see him go through everything, all the hard times, all the shit talking, all the and to get to see him be a 3-time World Series champion, to go out right out in the sunset in this, this Hollywood story. It just seems like there's nobody else in sports more deserving than this guy. And I mean, I don't know if you saw, but when Will got a hold of that one and it looked like it was going out, they showed the bullpen and everybody's freaking out. And you see Kershaw's going, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And it goes over and just goes, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my, and I'm like, even in the biggest moment of the world,
he's just like me, dude.
I'm like, he's just a dorky dad. And
he's saying, "Oh my gosh!" He's holding back his cursing even in that moment.
It's cool to see him go from this psycho killer that had his spikes on, 4 hours before game day, and you couldn't talk to him, to kind of be softened around the edges as a father, as a husband, and as an icon. And what he's done for this franchise is, is everything we see in front of us, and it's one of those things that cannot be overstated.
Yeah.
And as a guy of a certain age, as a fan of a certain age, it's tough to see him go, but you couldn't be more proud of the journey where we ended. And when we kind of look back at our lives, we go, oh man, we kind of grew at this point, and we had some highs at that point, and we suffered these lows together. And the thing that we had together was those evenings at Chavez Ravine, and no one could take them away from us, and no one could take away from the championships and the pedigree. And just proud to be a Dodger fan, and proud to say that I was there to watch Clayton Kershaw be the icon he is. And I'm glad I'll never see anybody else wear that number 22.
Yep. It's, I wouldn't be surprised if they retire it next year. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Kershaw statue in the next few years. I'm a little bit older than you. I'm a couple years older than Kershaw. So like I have this, you have this weird like ownership over players sometimes, where you feel like they're like a part of your, they're a part of your growing up. And I was 20, I think I was like 21 when he, or 22 when he came up and made his debut. And, so he's been a big part of just being becoming an adult growing up, and him retiring feels like a weird turning of the page in my life, where I'm sort of turning the page on the Kershaw era of the Dodgers, and I'm moving on to this new era of the Dodgers, and I'm just glad that he got to be a part of both. And because I think that the Dodgers as it stands now isn't what they are as a culture without Clayton Kershaw, because he was the embodiment of like a winning attitude on and off the field, and work the way that he worked and led by example and things like that. Like, whatever you may think about him and his playoff performances and all that stuff, he led by example, and I think that the Dodgers are what they are because of him, and I'm just happy that he kind of got the ending he deserved. So it's gonna be emotional at the parade in a few days, but for now, I don't have much else to say, Brandon. We said a lot. This was a long episode. This was a very special night. One of the most incredible wins in the history of the franchise. First back-to-back champion since 2001, I believe, or 2000. What was it?
They ran it back from 98 to 2000.
Yeah, so we haven't even mentioned that, and the Dodgers now are part of history.
First back-to-back.
Yes, back
quarter century.
And no slowing down anytime soon. Shohei Ohtani has been here for 2 years. He has 2 championships. Yoshinobu Yamamoto has been here for 2 years. He has 2 championships. Tyler Glasnow has been here for 2 years. He has 2 championships. This is a special team. Don't take this for granted. For the new Dodger fans out there that tune into this, this is different. Really, really, really appreciate it, because this doesn't come around very often. And
no,
I got emotional tonight because I felt grateful that I was gifted this. It's just amazing. So, to the Blue Jays, great season, great series. To the Dodgers,
amazing. Such a proud, seriously, I'd be such a proud Blue Jays fan right now. I'd be hurt and grieve. It's such a tough loss, but you were there. You were the dance. You were toe to toe. I mean, anybody that wants to talk shit, tell them to blow you, but that's not nice. But hey, man, any real baseball fan knows that you guys were right there, and it was a slugfest, and these were 2 heavyweights. Like John Schneider said, this was 2 heavyweights duking it out, and the Dodgers just outlasted them, and it took heroic performances and kind of some stuff we've never seen before. The likes of Yamamoto really taking the team on his back, and his availability, and just, the way Doc pushed the buttons with this limited bullpen and everything. And yeah, it's special. It's something not to be taken for granted at all. This is unreal.
And I do want to say one thing, like, if you're one of the Dodger fans, like, because I did see some Blue Jay fans that were, like, in our comments, like, talking about, like, how we were analyzing Game 5 or whatever, and the Blue Jays outplaying the Dodgers up to that point. We've been through, real Dodger fans know, we've been through this before, where we've, like, lost some pretty heartbreaking games, games we were supposed to win, games that we blew. I think it's incumbent upon us to be respectful of the fans that are going through it right now, because I could only imagine what they must feel being 2 outs away from a World Series and losing in that way. As happy as we are, they're going through it. They were a great team and a great fan base, and they deserve some respect in that regard. So that's all I got, Brandon. You're the man who made the prediction that Yoshinobu Yamamoto would be the MVP, close out the game, and that we would go to extra innings. So take it away, my friend.
Jesse.
1, 2, 3. Yamamoto Yoshinobuのモノマネしてるもしのぶ。Yamamoto Yoshinobuのモノマネしてるもしのぶ。
Oh! Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a World Series championship winning edition of the Third Collusion. With me, as always, is your host with the most, your back-to-back champion, Jesse the king of Crespi Rowe. You know me, the old Lord Paramount over here. Brandon. God, I can't believe we did this, Jesse. I am so proud to be on this pod with you, bud. What a journey. What a year it's been. I can't believe we saw Miguel Rojas, the ninth inning heroics. Will Smith, the homegrown kid. Yoshio Yamamoto, the certified greatest pitcher in baseball, cement themselves on the top of all-time great teams. They're undeniable. They're inevitable. They're ruining baseball.
They ruined it tonight. Yeah.
The Los Angeles Dodgers. Jesse, let me hear from you, my blue-collar boy.
Same time next year, Brandon?
Hey, you know where I'll be, brother.
All right, bro. Thank you guys so much. Seriously.
Yeah. We love you so much.